Our focus to a major leadership shift within Nigeria's ruling party, the All Progressives Congress. Following days of speculation and internal consultations, Ali Bukar Dalori, the party's deputy national chairman North, has officially resumed duty as the acting national chairman of the APC. His emergence comes at a pivotal moment as the party prepares for its crucial National Executive Committee meeting amid growing calls for internal reforms, regional balancing and renewed grassroots mobilization. But what does Dalori's leadership signify for the party's internal structure? Who might emerge in the battle to replace Ganduje, and how is the APC managing these undercurrents as it prepares for its next National Executive Committee meeting on the 24th of July? And to help us unpack these unfolding developments, the party's position, internal readiness, and how the APC hopes to manage what many see as a brewing context of interest is the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Dr. Felix Morka. Thank you so much for joining us on the program tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right. So let's start with what appears, like the APC is struggling, has always struggled to, stabilize its leadership position at the top because, history has it that the All Progressives Congress has a history of removing or pressuring its national chairman out of office, and often behind the scenes, though very calculated moves. You hear the party talk about internal party politics, court decisions, strategic resignations or suspensions. So this is not the first time. But I just would like to know why the party struggles with the leadership stability at the top. Dr. Morka.
Well, thank you. I do not believe, and I do not share in that what you just framed as the party struggling with its leadership. Now, leadership transition is a normal aspect of evolution of any institution. Now, keep in mind, the APC is a very young party. We came along just in 2013, 2014. So we're not, 20, even 30-year-old organization. We're not. But so if you look at the context of the party and its, origins, I don't believe that the reference to the leadership changes required during this period is anywhere near excessive, let alone a struggle. Now, having said that, currently we're here discussing the resignation of our former national chairman, Dr. Ganduje. Now, his resignation, was self-explanatory. He left to attend to urgent personal matters. Now, I know a lot of people have, suggested other reasons why Dr. Ganduje resigned his position. But, none of that is important. What is important is that he offered us a reason for his departure. And as far as the party is concerned, the only thing that matters now is for us to trigger a constitutional process for his replacement. That is what we announced today after, our NWC meeting this afternoon, deciding that our next meeting will be convened on the 24th of July. That's all that counts, really, as far as we're concerned.
And, Dr. Morka, I framed that question that way because, we're not hearing this for the first time. He left to attend to personal matters, and we know how other national chairmen left that position. But how would you assess Dr. Ganduje's tenure as APC chairman? Did he meet the expectations of the party's national stakeholders?
Yes, Dr. Ganduje was an outstanding national chairman, as everyone who paid attention, can testify. Dr. Ganduje, he hit the ground running, really got the party to get even more active, not just at the national headquarters, but across the states, across many of our local governments. Now, anyone who is familiar with the APC national headquarters would agree that, during Dr. Ganduje's tenure, the national headquarters of the party was a beehive of activities. It's one courtesy visit after the other, one meeting after the other, one conversation after the other, whether it's about just trying to mediate, issues and contexts in states and, elsewhere. The party was fully up and running. And, lately, again, I'm sure Nigerians witnessed the massive influx of people, governors and National Assembly members, Nigerians across the board into our party. All of that, was due to the leadership of Ganduje. And he also, midwifed the Democratic Institute for our party, which today is helping us to figure out and deepen our understanding of democracy, our understanding of internal processes, and quite frankly, something that no one else, no other party, has attempted, let alone, done. So
absolutely, Dr. Morka. So you also do not subscribe to how he was humiliated out of office. I mean, if I'm going to go by all these testimonials, because this is what young APC members are saying on social media. They do not feel good about this pressured resignation. They say for a man who outdid himself as the national chairman, APC welcomed more defectors during his time. He didn't deserve this embarrassment. And shockingly also, and I'm sure you're not shocked to hear that this is because of Rabiu Kwankwaso.
Now, you see, the way you characterize this almost suggests that you say this based on some kind of evidence.
These are speculations, and this is the conversation going on social media. That was why I mentioned.
Thank you.
Young members of your party, right?
You have qualified it. You said these are speculations. That's what they are, and you can't cloak speculation in any sort of garment to make it real. Speculation is speculation, and the only thing that is real is what Dr. Ganduje himself told us, is that he was leaving to attend to his personal things, his health matters, and all of that. And we are not in the business of second-guessing anyone who hands in resignation. And by the way, a lot of people resign, not just in APC, but in businesses, even in your organization, the TVC. I bet that people resign, and whatever it is they say, that's what you work with. You don't go ascribing motives to their leaving, even if you think you have one. They have not said so. So anything other than what Dr. Ganduje said is pure speculation. Look, I think that our party members understand. Our party is a growing party. We're the ruling party. We're Africa's largest party. You must give us some, room, some wiggle room to evolve our systems and our structures. And by the way, all of the successions we've had, none has become, controversial to the degree that you witness in other political parties. So you must at least give it to APC.
That's why so many people are shocked. That's why so many people are shocked at this resignation. But talking about Rabiu Kwankwaso, before we move on to the scheduled next meeting, this renewed speculation that he may be joining the APC. As the party spokesperson, are you aware of any formal or informal discussions in that direction?
To be specific, no. As the spokesman of the party, I am not aware of any live conversation around, the prospects or not of Dr. Kwankwaso joining our party. Now, having said that, Dr. Kwankwaso, like any and every other Nigerian, has every right. And APC offers the facility for any citizen who aspires to join the party to join. So, we don't have any gatekeepers that filters or dictates who comes and who doesn't come. Everyone is welcome to come. And if tomorrow Dr. Kwankwaso decides freely to join our party, we will welcome him like we've welcomed, the governor of Delta State and welcomed, the governor of Akwa Ibom and all the other eminent leaders who have joined our party. We're really an equal opportunity political party, and we admit any citizen who intends and expresses interest to join.
All right. Listen on this, Dr. Morka, because in the past few weeks I've had NNPP's big shot on the show, and looking at how kind of politics has been played over the years, the political tension between both men, talking about Kwankwaso and Ganduje, is one of the most consequential rivalries in contemporary Nigerian politics. So is it correct to say your party, you've cleared the air on that, but for Nigerians who are still very uncertain, I would like you to clear on whether your party had chosen Kwankwaso over Ganduje, and is this because he failed to win Kano State for APC? Would you describe the timing of the speculations just as Ganduje steps down, as purely coincidental?
No, a suggestion that our party chose Dr. Kwankwaso over Dr. Ganduje. I mean, again, that's just the height of speculation. There's no such thing. And, these are eminent citizens, from Kano State, who have governed that state, who have a track record of service, public service. There's no reason for, Dr. Kwankwaso or Dr. Ganduje to pose a dilemma for APC. Both of them are eminent citizens. Dr. Ganduje just completed his term as chairman. Should Kwankwaso decide to join our party, he will be welcome to our party like any other citizen of the Federal Republic. So I don't think that I think people are going overboard with these speculations. Dr. Kwankwaso himself, I've not heard him say to anyone that he's, right now in a vehicle headed to the headquarters of APC. He hasn't said that. I think it's a bit too drastic for anyone to suggest really seriously that, these men are at war to the degree that one has to, give way to the other. I don't think that's absolutely unfounded, quite frankly.
But, Senator Kwankwaso may not have spoken about it, but in April, I had a conversation with Senator Rufai Sanihanga, who is the Senate Deputy Minority Whip. And this was after Senator Abdurrahman Kawu Sumaila and other honorable members from the NNPP had joined the APC or were set to join the party. It was also after Ganduje had called the NNPP a dead party. So the entire caucus was upset. And I remember Senator Hanga confirming that there is a possibility that Rabiu Kwankwaso joins the APC, but Ganduje must leave. And that's why you can't fault Nigerians who thought the APC had to sacrifice Ganduje for a red carpet welcome for Rabiu Kwankwaso. So if you truly have no knowledge, Dr. Morka, does this suggest there are internal communication gaps within the party's leadership, or is this a calculated political silence? Because you can never trust politicians.
Well, who would you trust then? Journalists?
Yes. Yes, you can trust us.
Well, you trust yourself because you're a journalist. I trust me, even though I'm a politician. But look, the point is, the reference you made is just an expression of personal opinion. His opinion does not rise to the level that it imposes on APC any kind of way, whether a duty or, for that matter, even look. Dr. Kwankwaso, if he chooses to join the party, will be welcome. And I think that's really sufficient to guide our thinking in this matter, because otherwise, Kwankwaso has not appointed anybody as his agent to speak for him. He's a prolific leader who can speak for himself any day, any time. So I think we should pause and wait for Senator Kwankwaso to, if he's truly intent on coming into APC, to tell us. It's not our duty to announce the incoming of Senator Kwankwaso. Usually, it is somebody who is seeking to join who makes the announcement, not the other way around. Because these questions, I think, strike almost a suggestion that the party itself should be telling everybody we're expecting Dr. Kwankwaso. That's not the way it works.
All right. So Mr. Damari is in acting capacity and to oversee a NEC meeting. There is a date, July 24th, and some party leaders and governors are reportedly lobbying for candidates outside the North Central. How committed is the party to respecting equity and rotation in filling leadership positions?
The party, takes zoning and equity and inclusion and spread very seriously. Those are very important elements of building cohesion within the party. So, we take it very seriously. And I am quite certain that all of those who are agitating, whether from North Central or elsewhere, who, are right now articulating their interests, we bring those concerns and interests and agitations to the table at NEC. And, I trust the leadership of our party to, very carefully deliberate on those concerns and to make decisions that are informed by reason, rationality, and, common sense, quite frankly. So, because, we need our party to continue to be cohesive. So we will not promote any sort of discord that will ultimately cost us, either loyalties or, for that matter, support. So, yes, our NEC meeting set for the 24th. we're looking forward to it. We're very excited to see the emergence of a new national chairman. And of course,
so if the party is considering
zoning around this.
Right. If the party is considering zoning, will the Northwest retain the seat, or is there, internal debate about shifting it elsewhere?
Look, you have to understand that originally, in the last national convention, North Central had the position of national chairman in the person of Dr. Abdullahi. Now I'm spacing out on his name. Our former national chairman, Abdullahi Adamu, our former national chairman. Now, that was then. The zoning system, still subsists, as we know. But if you remember, in the 2022 NEC, or 2023 NEC that resulted in the election of Dr. Ganduje, we had some thinking. NEC, in its authority as NEC, tinkered with, and shifted positions, a bit based on the exigencies of the time. Now, the NEC that we convened on the 24th also has the authority to return national chairmanship to North Central or take it elsewhere. You see, at any point in time, zoning is simply a system of convenience. It's not a constitutional, construct. So it's not binding on the party as you would imagine the constitution, binding the party. Therefore, NEC, in its authority, may modify that based on the calculation of the party's strategic best interest. So okay. Look, and I will not speculate as to where that decision will fall, because that is a decision for NEC to make. But, we are, again, excited going into that process with all the negotiations that will happen, and then to come out with a decision that will strengthen our party going forward.
So if this is really about strategic best interest, how then is the party managing or addressing these agitations from the North Central zone?
That's what I just said. That we expect
because kindly hold on, Dr. Felix Morka, because members of your party from that zone say they've been very loyal to the APC, but have not been treated fairly when it comes to positioning within the party. Some party stakeholders argue that the region has, contributed immensely to the APC's victories, but continues to receive little in terms of top appointments. Is that a fair assessment of the situation?
No, well, look, I don't think it's relevant to, call it as fair or unfair. What I think, happened was that North Central clearly, and I do agree that North Central we've received quite, very massive support from the region. And any region can lay claim and lay stake to getting more. We politicians, we are the ultimate Oliver Twist. We will ask for more. Even whatever we get, we ask for more. Because, asking for more is part of political negotiation. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely, normal, even, expected, quite frankly, with, political culture. But having said that, at any point in time, what is given and what is not given, again, is based on the overall distribution of, both positions or, resources or opportunities to the regions. The party and the leadership, especially when it comes to presidential appointments, the president obviously has the prerogative to make those decisions. But again, in consultation with the party, effort is made to ensure that those appointments and allocation of resources amongst the competing, the constituent zones in the country is fair, is inclusive, and has good spread. I believe that whatever concerns that our people in North Central have, they will bring it to the table. I know them. They have eminent leaders, outspoken party members who will come and articulate their positions very carefully. And I know that the leadership myself will listen and ultimately make decisions as dictated by, I think, the fairness of that moment.
All right, and still about strategic best interest, I'm just wondering, what qualities is the APC looking for in its next national chairman, especially as the party prepares for 2027? Will the party prioritize a grassroots mobilizer, a technocrat, or a veteran politician to lead the party forward?
I believe that at the very least, the party will be looking forward to an effective leader. a leader who embodies, inspiration, who is able to challenge himself and challenge the party to do more for our members, do more for the country. I think Dr. Ganduje has set the bar quite high. And, the next chairman, I think we have to build upon some of the record, which we've discussed already, whether it's, really opening up the party for others to come or, for that matter, getting the party to become more ideologically clear and, to deepen our understanding of, what it is, progressivism really represents, for us. All of those things are part of that. But also, I think the new chairman is going to have, he has to really buckle up as soon as he hits the ground running to also get us to winning elections. Because, we did our very best under Dr. Ganduje. We won quite a number of elections, both off-season and, other elections. But the new chairman has to, I think, build upon that and lead us into 2027 and do well, hopefully, return this president, as soon as he indicates interest to run again, and return, our governors who have come into our party, and of course, even win more states through fair and free, competitive election, in 2027.
Also, especially with how El Rufai and the likes have vowed to unseat the APC. But we'll come to that in a moment. What level of involvement does, Mr. President have, or the presidency rather, have in the current conversation about Ganduje's succession with the party, or would you say the party is asserting its independence?
Well, I'm not sure what you refer to as the party's independence. NEC, our National Executive Committee, is, as I said, outside of the national convention of the party, is the highest.
What I meant is, would Mr. President have a say in who becomes the next national chairman?
Yes, I was coming to that.
Yes,
I was leading to that. I mean, I was just setting the background for my direct answer to you. The point I'm making is that NEC is, an organ of the party, the highest organ outside the national convention. The president of the Federal Republic is the leader of our party, and is also, the leader of, our NEC. The point is, when the NEC convenes with the president in attendance, the president, of course, has every opportunity to participate in conversations, to listen to conversations, and participate in, decision-making about who succeeds Dr. Ganduje. He's a member of the party and has every authority and every right, like every other person who is a member of NEC, to participate in conversations and in making decisions. So yes, the answer to your question is yes, the president will participate to the extent that he's a member of NEC and a leader of our party in, whatever conversations and decisions that are made with respect to Dr. Ganduje's successor, the office of chairman.
I think it's great that you had to set the record straight, because some critics argue that, the office of the APC national chairman has become overly politicized and vulnerable to manipulation. So I'm wondering what the party is doing to restore credibility and institutional integrity to the role.
How do you overly politicize a political office? The office of the national chairman of a political party is a decidedly political office. You can't get any more political than that. So yes, whatever processes that are instituted for decisions about who occupies that office is a political decision. It's not a civil service, decision. It's not a religious decision. It's purely a political matter. Because, we just got off talking about, the zones who are competing to replace that. That's political. Competition is political. So look, all I'm saying is that, the process is operating exactly as it should. If it was anything else, if it happened anyhow, different from that, that would not be, the process that the Constitution has enacted. So I think, yes, that process is political, but of course, political does not mean, being irrational or being, without reason. Also, reasonableness is required. A lot of common sense is required to make the right decision so that we can avoid a backlash coming out of our next, NEC on July 24th.
All right, Dr. Felix Morka, let's take a break. NEC meeting, and I've been speaking with Dr. Felix Morka, APC National Publicity Secretary. Thank you so much for staying with us, Dr. Morka. You know, there are speculations that the party looks united at the national level, but at the grassroots level, there are growing discontent. And, you know, that's why PDP members have boldly told me on this program that the APC would be deeply fractured days ahead of the election. I'd like you to react to that.
Wishful thinking. They wish that the party would be fractured, but that wish will not materialize, and because there's no basis for it. Now, you see, what really gets me about our colleagues in the opposition is that rather than concentrate their energies fixing the massive, intractable problems, the dysfunction in the PDP, yes, they'll come on your show to offer very wishful thoughts that really make no sense. Now, APC is the largest party in this country and, you know, possibly in Africa. And we are very, you know, resolved in our systems and processes. I am speaking to you from Abo in Delta State, which is my hometown, attending leadership meetings of my party, you know, here with, of course, those who have joined us from the PDP and the original members, you know, trying to figure out how we, you know, integrate the party and build, you know, better cohesion, you know, going forward. So look, you know, we work hard at it. You know, I didn't attend the NWC meeting today because I was already on ground, you know, for these meetings, and the meetings were set, and we had the meetings from Friday until today. We don't play. We take. This is my district, and I am here to ensure that my local chapter, you know, both those who are coming from the PDP, that we all meet to have conversations, address all the concerns and anxieties which are natural, and to, you know, again, find common ground to work together to support, you know, both the party in the state and support, you know, the party at the national level, and of course, you know, support the president of the Federal Republic. So, you know, the PDP guys simply just, you know, shoot the breeze and then blame APC for everything else. If the national chairman of the PDP had resigned in the same way that Dr. Ganduje resigned, by now, the airwaves would be saturated with screams and yells of, you know, APC manipulating the resignation of a PDP chairman. So far, we have not accused the PDP or any other opposition party for the circumstances of Ganduje's, you know, resignation. But if this was, you know, the other way around, by now we will be blamed for that, you know, event. Look, what I'm saying is that these guys need to fix the dysfunction in their party and quit blaming APC for everything they suffer. Look at the events of today at the national headquarters of the PDP. That's a party that should be focused, should be obsessed, quite frankly, to fixing its own problems rather than point, you know, fingers in the wrong direction. We are minding our business. They should mind us as well.
And managing your own crisis in a better way, isn't it? But Dr. Morka, what is but where is the place of ideology when the APC continues to, you know, receive members of the PDP into the party? Is your party not bothered about the ideology of these men who come into the party every day? Except you're telling me that this is just about numbers.
No, it's not just about numbers. You know, when you move into a party, I think it's understood that you move into a party, you submit yourself to the authority of that party. You submit yourself to the do's and don'ts of the party. You submit yourself to the ideological frame of the party. That's part of, you know, the orientation and the conversation that we continue to have with our new members. As you can imagine, the meetings I just referenced in my own local government, these are some of the issues that we discussed. We told them, look, this is, you know, how we do things. This is the way we see, you know, society. This is how we, you know, it's our worldview of politics and democracy. We do that. But of course, you know, these things take time to play out. Look, I don't say it enough. I can't say it enough. Our democracy is still very nascent. I am someone who participated vigorously in the, you know, efforts to oust the military from power. I take democracy seriously. But democracy is also not, you know, a given. You have to work for it, and it takes time for people to internalize some of those fundamental tenets and values of democracy. So what we are doing at APC is we are learning, and we say that we're learning, but even in our learning, we are humble enough to admit that it's not easy, and we are prepared to work for it. Dr. Ganduje worked for it. We expect the next national chairman to work for it. Mr. President, who is a veteran Democrat, has worked for democracy for this country, continues to lead democratically to open up democratic space, despite all of the, negative commentary from the opposition. This president is vigorous, he's clear, he's resolute in his, commitment to uplifting our democratic standards and our democratic way of life, not just for this generation, but for the future as well.
All right. So talking about politics at the grassroots level, can you clarify what exactly happened in Gombe State regarding the exemption of Vice President Shetima's name from the list of endorsed leaders? Was your mission a deliberate political move or simply a local oversight as the party leadership sought clarification from the Gombe APC chapter?
No, what happened was really, a misunderstanding of what might be, a political but quasi-legal process for how, for the process of primaries versus the process, at national election. Now, during primaries, the president, just like the governor, is the only candidate on the ballot during the primaries of any political party. You do not go into primaries with a joint ticket between the president and the vice president. That happens during the general election. So I think the misunderstanding in Gombe was that some of the announcements that were made for endorsement was following a technical format, which is actually the correct format, which is that at primaries, and by the way, the endorsements are relevant only towards, a potential primary election. So the announcement of endorsement of the president was meant to simply underscore the singularity of the candidacy for, party primary election. The vice president, under any circumstances, is never on the ballot at primaries. It is after the president has emerged as a flag bearer that he then, decides or chooses who becomes, the vice president. But see, what matters is that today we have a sitting vice president who is highly respected in our party. So the event of Gombe was not in any way meant to undermine the, sitting vice president or to suggest that there was any, untoward plans to remove him. None of that. It was simply, a process that was, put forward in the form that it should take and that it will take during our primaries. But it was misunderstood by some of the attendees, and that resulted in that stiff moment that we witnessed. But the party has taken steps to educate our people and provide that information so that people know it was not an intentional effort to blight the vice president. Somebody we respect very, very seriously.
Because thankfully you said this, because there are speculations that this might be a sign of brewing divisions within the Northeast APC or even early positioning for 2027. And there are those who have also said this could, be a signal of Northern leaders aligning behind a different political interest. But let's talk about opposition voices and, other matters if time permits us. Mr. President says that St. Lucia and Peter Obi does not understand why. He has called that trip an ill-timed and insensitive decision in the face of deepening national crisis. What do you have to say, Dr. Morka?
Mr. B is just being garrulous as usual, being flippant, looking to get a mention in the news. Otherwise, Mr. B literally comments on everything. It does appear as if, having run for the office of president, he has nothing else to do other than just, go from one thing to the other. Look, the president is the president of the Federal Republic. The fact that the president is the president of Nigeria does not, in any way diminish his international responsibility as well to interact with the rest of the world. Nobody elected the president to simply sit in Abuja, at the Aso Rock Villa and go nowhere to do his job. His job also, entails massively a high domestic dose, but also has international dimensions as well, which he must also fulfill. In this modern day, the world is, a small village, and our presidents and the countries, for that matter, are in competition, not just for, goodwill, international goodwill, which is social capital that often also translates to economic capital. But, it's also about going out to compete for resources that are very scarce globally, to position, get involved in international systems that position Nigeria and give us our place of pride in the international stage. So, we cannot diminish our international, image just because Peter Obi, is a Nigerian citizen who wants to rake up every, a straw to, try to make political mileage.
Even look at also went on to say, Dr. Morka, he also went on to say the president's priorities appear to be misplaced. And I'm wondering how the APC interprets this constant criticisms. Are they constructive opposition, or does the party see it as mere politicking?
No, first, I see it as just a lot of idleness, quite frankly. We can be more usefully engaged as a patriot to, discuss matters that I think have value, offer value. Constantly, look, there's no record of Peter Obi ever saying anything, one thing that is positive about anything. He's the chief, I think, underseller, if you will, of, Nigeria.
But it says a lot of positive things about the obedience movement.
Well, that's his movement. So, yes, if he says things about them, obviously that is what I'm saying. That he may say a lot of things about himself and those who support him, but he says nothing good about Nigeria. So, look, I think that Peter Obi is really putting himself into question about his patriotism, quite frankly, because to simply sit and say nothing other than vilify your country.
And what does that say about a leader or someone who wants to lead this great country?
It says a whole lot. It just, shows that Peter Obi, quite frankly, doesn't have the maturity to be president. He doesn't have the maturity. He doesn't have the equanimity and the calmness of mind, the perspective, the discerning, maturity to lead this country. He doesn't have that. And no matter how much he speaks and, throws bricks at this president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President Tinubu is focused, will not and will never be distracted by Peter Obi's rants. Now, I would say, quite frankly, that all of the bricks that Peter Obi has hauled at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not just Peter Obi, all of the bricks that Atiku Abubakar, the likes of El-Rufai, Rotimi Amechi, and the rest of them, this president is simply standing still and picking up those bricks and building legacies for Nigeria, building a true resurgent Nigeria. And I think they know that, and they're very concerned. They know that if this president is afforded the time and opportunity to, complete his tenure and even, do a second term, they know that this generation of leaders and politicians who have served this country in various capacity but did nothing to change even the one fundamental of our national life. They did nothing. President Atiku, as vice president, he did nothing for Nigeria. Peter Obi left Anambra, more, thirsty for leadership than he met it. Is it El-Rufai who simply created chaos in Kaduna State? Look, all I'm saying, or Rotimi Amechi, who has been spoon-fed by state resources, who has simply just leached off of the state for nearly a quarter of a century. Look, they have had the opportunity. This is the first time this president has come close to the presidency and is now president. He deserves his own time to govern. And all of these efforts to distract him, it's not working. And it's not going to work. Right. They need to rest. They need to rest.
All right. So, Dr. Morka, these are allegations, but also it looks like the opposition coalition has finally adopted a political party. How seriously is the APC taking this coalition of opposition forces adopting ADC to unseat President Tinubu in 2027?
ADC or ADA? I thought they were talking about something.
ADA. There's ADA. They have now adopted. They have now adopted ADC, African Democratic Congress.
Oh, okay. Now, see, look, it's just a whole system of confusion.
But David Mark is projected to, be the chairman, the national chairman of this party.
It doesn't matter who they choose to be national chairman. They are simply a confused bunch. Now, let me say why they're confused. Now, has any of these individuals come out to Nigeria, even as vehement as they are in their attack against the president and against the APC? What have they told Nigerians that they would do differently, in relation to the economy of this country that this president is not doing? Now, I'm waiting for one of them to come out to say that if they were to run, and in the unlikely event that they win, that they would in fact restore fuel subsidy or return the dual exchange rate. That this president, the two elephants in the room, that all the other presidents before this president simply would not tackle, didn't have the political will to tackle. I want them to come and say that, they will reverse these policies that this president has initiated. Let them say that to Nigerians and justify it to Nigerians. Because I know that none of them, and all of them, have always, even during the last election, Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, maintained their commitment to Nigeria, that they will in fact remove subsidy and also, float the naira. This person has done that. And now we're seeing remarkable results, incredible macroeconomic indicators showing up, pointing Nigeria in the right direction. Now, they don't like that because they hate the fact that this president is the one doing it and taking the credit. So that is really tearing them to pieces. But you know what? The reform continues and the APC cannot help them. They need to go fix their problems and fix themselves.
All right, Dr. Felix Morka, July 24th is almost here, and we'll be here to monitor as these developments unfold. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Dr. Felix Morka is the National Policy Secretary of the ruling party, the APC. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Please have a great evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you
too. Take care.